When most people hear the word trust, they picture one specific thing, a revocable living trust. This is the kind of trust you set up to avoid probate. You can change it whenever you want, and you treat the money inside it essentially like your own money. And that is by far the most common trust out there. But there's another category that works very differently, the irrevocable trust. And when I mention it to clients, they usually ask, wait, why would I ever set up a trust that I can't change? And that's a fair question. But there are several really good reasons a family might want or need an irrevocable trust. And in some situations, it's the only tool that gets the job done. In this video, I'll walk you through what an irrevocable trust is, the main reasons families use them, and a few real examples of how they work in practice. And just a quick note before we dive in. Topics like this one, where the legal details really matter, are exactly what we cover in our newsletter. If you'd like our newsletter delivered to your inbox, the link is in the description below. Okay, so let's start by answering the question, what is a trust? So a trust is an agreement between someone setting it up, the settlor or the trustor, the person managing it, the trustee, and the beneficiary, the person benefiting from it. It's really like a contract. The most common trust out there is a revocable living trust. This is a trust that you set up to avoid probate upon your death. You can revoke and amend the trust. It counts as your money. You report any income on your own 1040 income tax return, and you don't have to get a separate tax ID number. Super easy. So what is an irrevocable trust? That's a trust that you can't revoke or amend. Well, why might you want or need an irrevocable trust? See, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Sometimes you might want to get asset protection. Let's say someone's trying to sue you. If your money is in an irrevocable trust, it doesn't count as your money, so creditors can't access it. Or you might have a loved one who's receiving public benefits. If their assets are held in an irrevocable trust and they can't act as trustee, the money doesn't count as their money, so they can keep receiving their important benefits. Or maybe you want to control how the money is used or who gets the money even after you're gone. You can do this through an irrevocable trust. Or maybe you have a larger estate and you want to avoid or reduce your estate tax exposure. Irrevocable trusts work for this too. So let's look at some examples of irrevocable trusts and we'll see how they work. Okay, so first let's talk about asset protection. In the United States, anyone can sue anyone for anything. Ugh. What if you're afraid you'll be sued in the future or your child will be sued? You can set up an irrevocable asset protection trust. Now in California, this is hard to do for yourself. You usually need to set up an irrevocable trust in a different state and have a bank in that different state act as trustee. You make it irrevocable to show the creditors that you really can't access the money, so it doesn't count as your money, even though the money is solely for your benefit. Now, you can also set up an irrevocable asset protection trust for your child or somebody else. That's called a dynasty trust. This is much easier to set up in California since you're doing creditor protection for someone else, not yourself. But again, the trust needs to be irrevocable in order to work properly. All right, so next there's public benefits protection. There are certain public benefits that a disabled person can receive, but they can only have a limited amount of assets or income. These benefits are like SSI, Medi-Cal, and Section 8 housing. If the disabled person receives money outright or into a revocable trust, that money counts as their money, and it could disqualify them from their health insurance, their income stream, or their housing benefits. But you can leave their inheritance to an irrevocable special needs trust. The beneficiary can't act as trustee, so it doesn't count as their money since they're not managing it. But the government needs to be reassured that the beneficiary can never act as trustee. So you need to make this trust irrevocable when the money goes in to show that the beneficiary has no control over that money.
Did you know my mom has a monthly newsletter where she shares helpful information? Click below to join.
All right, so speaking of control, that's another reason why you might want an irrevocable trust. Let's say you're in a blended family, you love your new spouse, but you want to make sure all of your money goes to your kids when your spouse dies. You can set up what's called an A-B split. This is a revocable trust for a couple that splits into two subtrusts when the first person dies. The deceased person's half is held in a subtrust called a bypass trust or a B trust. The B trust is irrevocable. The surviving spouse can't change where the money ultimately goes. Or let's say your child isn't very good at saving money. They blow right through everything they get. I had a cousin like this. You can leave money to them instead in an irrevocable dynasty trust and set up another person or entity as the trustee. Since it's irrevocable, your child can't demand the money or change the terms. All right, then we have estate tax protection. In 2026, right now, the estate tax exemption is currently at $15 million per person. If you have more than $15 million when you die, anything over that $15 million is taxed at 40%. Oof, that's a big hit. Though I should mention that the exemption is the highest it's ever been, and the percentage is much lower than it used to be, but it's still a substantial tax. Now, you can use irrevocable trusts to give away your assets at a discount. So here's an example of this. Let's say you have a house that's worth $5 million, and you want to give the house to your kids. But if you give the house directly to your kids, you're using up $5 million of your $15 million exemption. Instead, you can put the house into an irrevocable trust called a personal residence trust. You continue to live in the house during a certain period of time, say 5 or 10 years. At the end of that time period, your kids own the house, and you have to pay them rent if you want to keep living there. So the question is, what's the value of the gift of the house? If the kids get the house immediately, the gift is worth $5 million. But if the kids have to wait 5 or 10 years to get the house, the IRS says the value of the gift isn't as high. This is because we're all pretty impatient. And if I buy something but I have to wait 10 years to receive it, the value of that purchase is less than if I receive it right away. So you can take a pretty hefty discount, say 25 to 40%, on the value of the gift of the house. So at the end of the day, you've gotten $5 million out of your taxable estate, but you've only used up to $2 or $3 million of your estate tax exemption. You see how that works? And if you still live in the house after 10 years has passed, and your kids inherit the house or they receive the house, you need to pay rent to your kids who now own the house. So you're passing along even more of your money to your kids without using your estate tax exemption. I think that's pretty cool. Now, why does the personal residence trust need to be irrevocable? You need to show that you can't undo the gift. So this only works if the trust is irrevocable and can't be changed. So when someone asks me, do I need an irrevocable trust? The real answer is always the same. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. For most families, a revocable living trust is what they need. But if you're protecting assets from creditors, if you're preserving public benefits for a disabled loved one, if you're controlling how money is used after you're gone, or if you're managing estate tax exposure, an irrevocable trust might be exactly the right tool. Here at Cookman Law, we utilize several types of irrevocable trusts in our clients' planning. We use revocable trusts for couples containing A-B splits. We do special needs trusts, and we do dynasty trusts. We don't do irrevocable trusts for estate tax protection, but we're happy to refer you to others who can help. When you come in for a consultation, we'll walk you through your family situation and your goals, and we'll walk you through whether an irrevocable trust fits into your plan. And if so, which type? You'll leave with real clarity on what your options are and what the next step might look like. If you're ready to start that conversation, there's a link in the description to schedule a call with our intake team. And if you want more estate planning content like this, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.
If this video is helpful for you, share it to someone else who might benefit from it.